In community, there's purpose and strength and joy and knowledge and hope and courage, and there's love. Thank you for bringing all of that to your communities every day and into this shared space tonight. Like you, I get to work with people who live those values every day, this incredible board and staff. And as Joe affirmed, in these challenging times, we're steadfast in our purpose and steadfast in centering equity, racial justice, and economic security to achieve that purpose in everything we do. In our grant making, in our student aid, in our investment strategy, in our internal operations, in our community engagement. Joe, thanks to you and the full board for your incredible dedication and vision and leadership. And this is always one of the hardest parts. Barbara, Pawn, Jerry Ann, I can't quite imagine what our foundation would have been without you for the last 6 to 8 years. You've profoundly influenced our work and me. We are going to miss you terribly. And I want to welcome Tom and Jamie to this terrific board of people. And especially, as Joe said, thank you to this incredible, talented, passionate, dedicated, curious group of people they're curious in their minds, that I get to work with every day, our incredible staff of colleagues. Your passion, your brilliance, that's the heart of our work. More than 60 years ago, a few people came together to start a community foundation for, by, and of the people of New Hampshire, a perpetual source of philanthropic capital to address urgent needs today and to strive for a better tomorrow. Since then, through every season and every era, your foundation has been here for New Hampshire. Here with nonprofit organizations whose commitment and ingenuity make New Hampshire better. Here with the generous people who devote resources and care and time and talent to the common good. Here to create partnerships to address shared challenges, and here when the complexity of those challenges demand not only unfaltering effort, but defiant optimism. Here for good. As you'll see tonight and in the annual report, the Charitable Foundation is committed to meeting this very difficult moment with resolve and resilience, shoulder to shoulder in common cause, with generous donors and partners from the nonprofit, business, and civic sectors. We've come through difficult times before. Economic disruption, social and global unrest, natural disasters, a devastating pandemic. But this time's different. As Joe said, we're facing relentless and chaotic pronouncements, executive orders, funding cuts, elimination of bedrock programs, mostly at the federal level, but also flowing down through state legislation and the state budget, currently being considered in the state Senate. You see the impacts every day. Community members fearful of being detained or deported. Tens of thousands of Granite Staters at risk of losing their health care through Medicaid. More kids going hungry because of cuts to SNAP. Students of all ages seeing resources they need drained from public education. Businesses stymied in their efforts to address climate change by investing in green energy. Everyone at risk of losing the public media that we trust for objective news and information. Teachers, government employees, law firms, businesses threatened for standing up for core American principles: due process, fair voting, the rule of law, science, and learning from the hard truths of our history. This deliberate upheaval is totally unnecessary. Our country and state have the resources, the know-how, and years of hard-won progress to build a society, in the struggle to build a society where everyone can thrive regardless of race, of gender, of socioeconomic background, age, ability, sexual orientation, immigration status. And here in New Hampshire, we have a long tradition of working across ideological difference and across the sectors. We know how to do better, but we're losing that muscle, and we have to get it back. Because if we don't, those furthest from opportunity will fall even further behind. And all of this is shifting cost and burden to the charitable sector. And of course, you are stepping up in remarkable ways. You will hear 3 stories tonight from Cora, Jason, and Heidi, and my colleagues Simon and Melinda will share a little bit more about how we are supporting that work through community and donor engagement. Flip through the annual report, visit nhcf.org, and you will read hundreds of stories of courage and passion and giving. The challenges that we face aren't isolated. As the columnist David Brooks wrote recently, it is a single effort to undo the parts of the civilizational order that might restrain acquisition of power. Brooks, who comes from the center right, wrote this: "What is happening now is not normal politics. We're seeing an assault on the fundamental institutions of our civic life, things that we should all swear loyalty to, Democrat, Independent, or Republican." And that's the other reason this is unprecedented: the undermining of civil society itself and the institutions that contribute to the common good. Universities, libraries, news outlets, hospitals, museums and cultural centers, faith communities. And at the heart of civil society is this uniquely American nonprofit and philanthropic sector, which is expected to do even more in hard times. And yet, executive orders and legislation would censor and claw back funds from tax-exempt organizations that embrace the highest aspirations of the American ideal: diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, social justice. We believe in those principles, and we embrace the responsibility to speak up and stand up for them. This undermining of the nonprofit and civil society sector continues, unfortunately. Congress is proposing to extend tax breaks for wealthy Americans, not only on the backs of hungry kids and people needing health care, but by increasing taxes on universities, on private foundations, and even operating nonprofits. Another provision would empower the executive branch to revoke tax exemption for any nonprofit simply with which they disagree. Federal contracts, grants, congressionally approved funds are being denied to organizations in this room tonight who are mentoring kids, promoting clean energy, providing reproductive health, and celebrating the countless contributions of immigrants and refugees that have always been the very DNA of our country. So let's be clear. Civil society and the nonprofit sector alone cannot begin to fill public funding gaps, nor to repair the damage done by wrong-headed policy. But we do play a part that always has and always should be in respectful interdependence with the other great sectors in our society, business and government. We together can hold the line until we reach a brighter day. Early in my nonprofit career, I had the chance to participate in Governor Judd Gregg's Commission on New Hampshire in the 21st Century. It helped me and many of us understand this state better. The members of that commission wrote, the independence of New Hampshire people is legendary. But like any legend, it's part myth. Under the mainstream of rugged individualism, there's always been a practical current of interdependence and cooperation. As New Hampshire grows, our sense of mutual dependence must become as strong as our independence, or we lose both. That report, commissioned by a Republican governor, had a very simple title: New Hampshire, My Responsibility. The community in this room understands that now is the moment to rededicate ourselves to that shared responsibility in pursuit of the common good. I'm going to wrap up with this. At a recent Foundation Board discussion about these very difficult times we're in, one of our directors reminded us that we are in a marathon of love. That board member was Dr. Dottie Morris, and she's up next to share her thoughts on how we move forward and to introduce our guest speakers. Thank you all for what you do and for being here tonight.